Good morning and welcome to my channel, The Fruitcake Astrologer, where I will give you an astrologer's take on current events and people in the news. So, a few days ago, Ghislane Maxwell was arrested in New Hampshire, which was a bit of a shock for most people, I think. It looked like after Jeffrey Epstein, quote-unquote, committed suicide, this was all just going to get swept under the rug, as is far too often the case. So, my first question is, why did someone who had enough money to pay over $1 million in cash for a house in New Hampshire not run? You know, why didn't she flee to a country with no extradition treaty with the United States? So that to me is interesting. The second thing is, I see all over the news, she's going to sing, she's going to turn state evidence, she's going to tell everything. Is that true? And I want to know, will justice be served? Obviously, this was not a good woman, right? And the final thing is, there are bets being taken whether she's going to survive. I mean, let's face it, she's in the same jail that Jeffrey Epstein was, quote-unquote, committed suicide in, where the cameras broke down and the guards were, quote-unquote, fell asleep. It's like, ooh, if I were her, I would be nervous. Okay, so what does the chart say? Here it is. Now, I flipped it. If you're an astrologer, I flipped it because I'm asking about somebody else. And she is Mars. Mars is one of the malefics, so already the chart is describing her as not the nicest person in the world, right? Mars is the phallic symbol, right? So it literally says with Mars in the 12th that her sex drive was her undoing. It also indicates she's in jail. The 12th house is the house of confinement. Okay, so how is she doing? Let's just scan down the list of aspects. It's squaring Mercury. Is she angry at herself? Mars is anger. Mars rules the first house. Angry at herself for talking? She probably did it to try to get a better deal. Mars is quintiling Jupiter and Pluto. So I think she felt if she talked, she would be protected. Now, look at Uranus in the first house, opposing the part of misfortune in Scorpio, the sign of death. Now, Uranus rules her 11th house, and, her friend, Uranus, dying, murder, whatever, opposing her friend and ally, Uranus, and the 7th house, dying suddenly, I think must have really shocked her to the point that maybe she decided to talk. Uranus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is in the second house in a Mercury-driven sign. So maybe, after Jeffrey was offed, she decided to work with the authorities. Now, I think they said they would protect her because the moon is in Sag, so she felt safe. Okay, I think she felt safe. Now, one of the reasons I could support this theory is, if the United States restricted her passport, wouldn't let her leave the country, said you're a person of interest, surrender your passport, blah, 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 there's nothing to stop her from catching a boat off the coast of the United States and, heading toward an island that has no extradition treaty with the United States. So why did she stay? Did she stay because she's already been working with the authorities for quite a while? Now that she's in jail, I think she's regretting speaking because, like I said, Mercury is square Mars. Now, another reason I think she's in federal protective custody is because Mercury is in the sign of Cancer. I think basically she's being told, if you spill, we'll look out for you. So maybe she has been deciding, I'm not going to spill until you give me whatever deal it is that I want. Okay? And they're mad enough at her, like, okay, if you're not gonna cooperate with us, you're not gonna spill, you're not gonna talk, then we're going to put you in the same jail as Jeffrey Epstein. And we're going to, scare you. Maybe that's it. Now, I look at this. Is she going to sing? Well, Mercury is retrograde. And those, that is not spill. She may be backtracking on her stories and now they're really mad at her. And it's also combust the sun, which burns up little Mercury. So maybe whatever she's been saying isn't holding up, or maybe she's holding back, trying to get a better deal for herself. But she looks mad at herself, maybe that she talked, or maybe she's realizing that her captors, who probably were really nice to her when she was cooperating, now are not so nice to her anymore now that they have what they want. I don't know. It could be that. But I would be shocked if she is singing like they're saying, because Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house, seriously? It literally says, I've gone into my shell. I'm not talking, I've gone into a shell. So I wonder if maybe they're putting her in jail to kind of rattle her tree, and then coming out with these press releases saying, she's going to talk. She's going to, tell everybody blah, 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 to also shake the tree. I think Ghislane is feeling deceived because the moon's final aspect was the outcome of the chart. What is going to happen to Ghislane is squaring Neptune. So she is going to feel exceedingly deceived. Okay. Now, the 12th house is the most difficult house in astrology, and I'm just going to read to you what the 12th house matters are, according to Ivy Goldstein Jacobson, one of my favorite astrologers. Widowhood, grief, funerals, exile, seclusion, detention, bribery, subversion, the past, murder, suicide, and kidnap. So, the final question was, is she going to make it? So, I would say she's probably in danger. Now, the planet Neptune can be, as a flip side, deceit, illusion, deception, and it's retrograde. So we're kind of getting the flavor that, I don't know. It could be as benign as saying she's going to find God here at the end, facing justice. But I'm taking that to mean the woman is definitely in physical danger. Okay, that is not a good house to have. Your final aspect too. Okay, now the moon is next over. A triple conjunction of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. All retrograde, all in the 10th house of leadership, in the sign of leadership, Capricorn. Now, when that north node is in the same degree as a planet, it shows crisis. So you'll notice that the north node's at 29 degrees and Saturn's at 29 degrees. These powerful, important men are in crisis. So we all know that, she's they're terrified. Of course, they're going to lose their power, their standing in life, their families, all of this. Man, that'd be a tough thing to have looming over your head. Now, the moon is next over Jupiter, which tells me that justice will be served upon her. Now, the chart indicates she may serve a 12-year prison sentence, okay? Maybe at least 12, because the moon is at 3 degrees and the ascendant is rising to meet it at about 15. So maybe 12 years, if she makes it, Now, the moon, after it goes over Jupiter, goes over Pluto. Now, Pluto is not a good planet to be over. Yikes. Yeah, I do think this woman, Pluto, of course, rules Scorpio, planet of death, taxes, so will these powerful, important, wealthy people who she has dirt on stand for that? Will they stand for it? I don't know. We're going to get to find out. There's some really important people who were involved with Epstein, some very, very prominent, important people who have lots of resources. I don't know. I'm worried for her. You know, she's not the nicest person in the world, but, you know, anyway. So, the moon is next over Saturn, right? Is then over Saturn. You know, people, I would say important, powerful people being held accountable. Okay, so will she sing? She may have already sung. And she may have been working with the feds after Epstein, her friend and ally, was suddenly, quote unquote, died. I mean, if you were Ghislane, who would you be more afraid of? You know. So I think she's having a rough time. I think she's angry at herself. She may be feeling suicidal. Mars on the ascendant. You know. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I do think she's in danger. I don't think she ran because she was cooperating. Will she sing? I think she may have already and now is shut up. And I think that's why she's in prison now, because she is now refusing to cooperate. I do think justice will be served on her, and I do think she's in danger. So anyway, that's my reading. It is Mercury retrograde, so I'm shuddering a little bit. But anyway, if you enjoy these readings, I hope you will like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for listening.